going on, everybody? It's KB, and I love movies. Welcome to a new week. Welcome to a new night with a new conversation with a new guest. Hope everyone had a great weekend. See some people popping up here in the chat. So thank you, first of all, for coming back. If it's your first time, welcome. Always like to see new faces in here. For tonight, we have a new guest, as I mentioned here, a fellow YouTuber, and also follow him on Instagram as well. He's been in this chat, I know, many a times, and I was pretty excited when I saw that he started to post more YouTube videos and get more active on social media. So it was definitely a joy and honor to invite him on. I'm going to use the monkey's greeting here. Greetings, one and all, while the King of Johns graces us all with his conversation seen by all. Love of the greatest John Carpenter franchise. Got to find out what that is. Father-daughter dances and always making live streamers smile. Very true. So why not stay a while for the Juggler stops talking to Evelyn to honor us with a conversation. He's got a lot of information in there for you. Can you hear us? Looks like we're having some technical difficulty here. Give me a thumbs up if you could hear me. No? No thumbs up.
Hello?
We could hear you now. Headphones. You can't hear anything. We can't hear you now. Let's see. It says your mic is not connected. Go into settings at the bottom there and check out what your audio source is. See if it's your headphones or something else. That always helps. I'll give you a few minutes and I'll check out who's joining us in the chat. In the meanwhile, if you could hear me, just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. All right. Let's see who's joining us here in the chat besides the monkey. We have Adrian James saying hello there. And normally if you see Adrian, you see Hall & Oates right behind him. Thank you both for joining us as usual. For John Doe, we have Jane Doe joining us, saying hello to everyone. We got Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music. That's the fastest I ever said that, saying hey to both of us. Let's see. We got BFF Melissa joining us, saying good evening all, as well as Eric. What's up to you, my man? What's going on to the both of you? Shout out to all my Canadian friends up there. Love you all. Let's see. Tristan King saying, yo, good to see you. Always good to support the people you love. That's all I shall say. We got Johnny joining us. King Conversation chatting with Juggalo. Time to stop Lady Snowblood. Funny. Good movie, by the way. For those of you who love Kill Bill Volume 1, you should watch where that certain scene with Lucy Liu comes from, because it's a good influential scene. Who else is joining us? We got Jersey in the house. Jerry, what up, what up, what up? Yeah. Thank you for stopping in. I know you probably will be watching the Giants game. Let's see. People saying hi to each other as always. Always good. Community, community, community. We got the caveman joining us, saying hey to everyone and everyone in the chat. Let's see. Tiger Blue saying hi and hi to all. Please slash that like button, Caveman says. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. More people saying hi to each other. Let's see here. By the way, if you have any questions for Jeff or anything to add, go ahead and post it in the chat. We'll check in and see if Jeff is doing okay here. How's it looking,
Can you hear
Jeff?
me now?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us?
Enough.
Okay.
I'll get it working. It's fine.
We could deal with enough.
Yeah, we can deal with it.
We just need to hear you, man. So how's it going? Besides the
I,
technical
I
difficulties.
I can't complain. Um,
Okay.
I need to not let other people borrow my headphones because I cannot get them to sync back up with my phone now. It just wants to turn every Xbox in the house on.
Been there. Been there. Wait a minute. Do they ask before they borrow the headphones? Because that's always a thing for me. Did you lose audio again?
Huh?
I said, do they ask before they borrow the headphones?
Yes, I'm just not good at getting them moved back over.
Ah, one-way borrowing. That's what we call that.
Yeah, I'm just not. I'm just not good at like having these things jump from Bluetooth device to Bluetooth device to Bluetooth device. Once they're set up, I need them to stay because I can't keep resetting them. I'm not.
Yeah. They
That-
tend to have a mind of their own with the Bluetooth. That's for sure. So, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone about yourself, about your channel, and so forth?
My name is Jeff. My channel is John Doe Juggalo on YouTube. Same for Instagram and Letterbox. I just like to watch movies. I like playing video games. I do a little bit of all of that kind of on the channel. I'm wanting to do conversations kind of like this, but on specific movies or TV shows and stuff. I just
Mhm.
haven't really got the ball rolling on any major content. It's basically just been me playing video games here lately.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that what I'm gonna kind of focus on is gonna be like video game movies and movie based video games, possibly because I don't see
Mhm.
a lot of people talking about that stuff. They just talk about, well, that movie's bad, and I'm like, well, it's because it's based on a video game and they didn't base it correctly. A lot
Yeah.
of times, a lot of really bad movies people don't realize are actually based on video games. So I've been thinking about talking about that kind of stuff on my channel and just, I don't know, just hanging out.
Also, I noticed that a lot of times they'll get a writer or a group of writers who are not really fans of the game, so they're just writing like if it's, you know, just some story that they're trying to follow, and they have a couple of plot points to follow, and then that's it. So when you get something like, did you enjoy The Last of Us, the HBO series?
Actually, I really did enjoy The Last of Us. And I
Me
haven't
too.
played The Last of Us, but I watched my wife play through it. And then I
Mhm.
watched the show, and the show felt beat to beat the same as what I watched her play.
And I think that's what happens when you get people who are fans of a franchise like that, because they wanted to kind of capture the same kind of passion that people had playing the game. But if
Yeah.
you just get some rando just hired on to commission a story, it's not going to have that same passion and that same feel for sure.
Well, my one of my favorite examples is like the Resident Evil movies.
Hmm.
The first original movie is the only one that even comes comparable to the feeling of the atmosphere of the game.
Hmm.
And then the more and more of them they made, they just kind of branched further and further away from the game. And then they did that one a couple years ago called Welcome to Raccoon City,
Yeah.
and that was beat for beat like the game, and nobody liked it because everybody thought that Resident Evil should have been what it was.
Mm.
But fans of the game loved it.
Yeah.
But moviegoers was like, I don't understand why it's so much different than the other six.
Yeah.
And it was because the other six weren't really as close affiliated to the games as that new one was.
Yeah. That's an interesting niche to get into, because like you said, you don't see a lot of people covering that. So that could definitely be something that could take off, because it's definitely there. The interest is definitely there. And I think recent releases such as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game and the love and attention people gave that as soon as it came out is a great example.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorites that I still play is Dead by Daylight, and that game is going on 7 years old.
Hmm.
But the draw of it is all the different horror icons. Like
Yeah.
I can put the game down for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, hey, here's Michael Myers, so it pulls me back in.
Yeah.
Or like they just released Chucky for the game,
Chucky. Yeah.
so. that's drawn all of us back into it again, and I haven't played it in about a year.
Hmm. But I seen on your YouTube channel that you've been posting content with that. So the interest once again is there just by new downloadable content, just resparking the game again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couple other comments here in the chat. Caveman wants to know, have you ever seen Ninja Scroll? If so, what are your thoughts?
I've never heard of Ninja Scroll.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's an anime, and that's the one thing that doing these tournaments with Bob, everybody kind of got misconstrued. I don't really know much about anime. Most of those were ones that I bought at like Dollar General, and friends
Mhm.
told me that they were good ones to get into, and they were well priced. And
Yeah.
then I knew that I could win the tournaments that I was in with Bob by using those because nobody really collects them.
Yeah. Shout
So
out to Bob's Blu-rays, man. Miss you.
yeah, I really appreciate that guy. He's really the only reason that I ever really decided to try to get in front of the camera.
Yeah. He brings a lot of people together. He's a connector, as I would call it.
Yeah,
And a lot of people had their start either being online, live streaming, whatever. One of their first times on YouTube was probably as a guest on his channel. So
yeah.
he
I had
definitely
only
brings it.
ever tried to play a couple games on Twitch where
Yeah.
I turned my camera off
Hmm.
and I would chat with people, but Bob's the one that was like, "Hey, if you want to do it, just get out on the camera and do it, my guy."
Yeah. He's right.
So,
He's right. Johnny has a question here to you. What is the best video game to film adaptation?
um, actually, it's one that we'll be discussing later.
We like that. Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing. We'll just keep it as that for now. The monkey says he agrees. Very underrated genre. Thoughts on Stranger Things using Dungeons and Dragons to further their story?
I think it's fitting. The first season of Stranger Things felt like Dungeons and Dragons, even though it had nothing to do with it, anyways.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's very fitting.
and I think it definitely represented the times too, because being the official old guy, I could tell you Dungeons and Dragons was super big in the mid 80s. So them incorporating it into the story and having the club and everything, that was kind of like standard for people in suburban towns like that and everything.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool because, like, my oldest, he's 15, and he's grown up with Stranger Things. We've watched it as it's come on every year. He's been watching it, I guess, since he was in elementary school. At this point, it's taken like 10 years to do 4 seasons, but
Hmm.
um, he's always been a very big fan of that show, and he gets interested in things that are introduced in that show. Like the last season, they played Master of Puppets, and then he got into Metallica. So it's cool
Nice.
because now, like, I had a Metallica album, my dad had a Metallica album, and now my son has a Metallica album. So everybody kind of has like a Metallica album that is their Metallica album, and it's just
That's
really
cool.
cool how like things like that can. We have movies like that too, but
Hmm.
it's just really cool because most people get more upset about a remake of a movie rather than a band continuing to do albums 20 and 40 years later. More
True.
people are more upset about a Halloween remake over Metallica releasing a 30th album.
It's true. So what's yours and what's his?
Mine is Death Magnetic.
Really?
Yes, that was
Wow.
the one. That was the one that was popping when I was in high school, and I
Yeah, yeah,
remember that's when I first got into vinyl records, and the vinyl for that was so awesome. And then I bought
it
the
was.
CD too, and it was awesome the way that they did like all the artwork. The CD, it was one of the few CDs where the CD was kind of matched the vinyl because they had the
Mhm.
coffin and each page had a hole in it. And as you went through the book, the coffin got smaller and smaller and it became full pages. And they did that on the record and on the CD.
Yep.
So to me, that was what kind of like it kind of brought me in full fold to okay, well, they can make really cool records still in 2005,
Yeah,
and Metallica can still make something comparable to Master of Puppets and Injustice for All in my time.
yeah,
So, I get to claim that one. I don't have to claim Saint Anger.
right. So what's his?
And my son, he's like in their new one, that 72 seasons. So, he gets a Metallica album in high school that I think is pretty decent. It sounds pretty good. So
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people feel like, for a while they sold out and they want like the old stuff like puppets and lightning and all that. People
Anybody,
grow, people art changes decade to decade, especially. You can't put out Battery in 2023. There's
yeah,
no
I
way.
mean, when you have any kind of musician or artist, director, anything like that, anybody in an artistic field,
Mhm.
you can't say that they're successful doing the same thing for 20 years. They
Nope.
always innovate, they always change. Things sound different 5 years later than they did,
Yeah,
when they first started off. You can't say they sell out. If you say that, every band, every director has always sold out.
yeah,
If
it's
that's the
true,
case.
and I mean, your wish is that something that is classic in your catalog, like a Master of Puppets, gets used again in a popular, space, like,
Yeah,
you know,
like
well,
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, and then that brings you a whole new generation of fans like Tristan, so,
And it makes it easy for me to find something to bond with him over too,
yeah,
because they bring more things in that I grew up with.
yeah, that's
So
awesome.
it's pretty cool.
Jerry, reflecting back on Last of Us, the game was perfect, yeah. Let's see, just watched Dead Rising Watchtower a couple weeks ago, not good.
It's not bad if you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, but you see, I think that's where and we've seen it on a more popular scale with something like the Super Mario Brothers movie, where if you've played the game and you got like the other game references that they put in the movie, you probably enjoyed it more than someone who just thought, "Oh, this is cute and that guy sounds funny," and so forth. So,
Yeah.
uh, let's see, Eric, Last of Us, my favorite game and new show. I hear that. Emmett in the house. What are you two doing the most on? What are you two going to do on the most magical time of year on Christmas Eve? Uh, I we have a tradition of doing gingerbread man and decorating them. So anybody who comes to my house, everyone has to do at least one gingerbread man, even me. And I don't like doing that stuff, but everybody else does. And we used to have a big family table, and we'd extend it out, and everybody would do a gingerbread man. But I figure if my father, who does nothing like that, can do one, I could do one. So, yeah, we're gonna do that, and we normally throw on like some Christmas movie that everybody likes, like Elf or whatever. So, oh, good time for me to bring this up. Let me clear this here. After I'm done here, in about an hour and a half or so, I will be over on the 4K Lowdown for this. We're doing another episode of High Five with him and Turner Fan 77. David and Rich are having me on as a guest, and I'm going to do my holiday high five. So, my top 5 holiday movies, and we'll be going through their high five rating system and figure out which one deserves the highest rating and all that good stuff. So that
So the highest
starts
rated one will be the one you watch this year, right?
probably. I'll probably watch all of them, but the winner will be the Christmas Eve movie. I'll put it that way. Um, so that starts at I want to say 9 p.m. So 9 p.m. Eastern. So come and join us. We normally start with a non-movie question, but we've been kind of kicking it so far. But I will throw out my non-movie question to you anyway. Um, for people that don't understand, tell us how you got into ICP and explain what a juggalo is and clear any misperceptions.
Okay. So I don't know. I was probably about 11, and my uncle he always influenced me with music. Like in the 90s, I was growing up listening to like Bone Thugs and Ice Cube, and then it transitioned into Eminem. Um, and then he decided he was actually sitting outside in the driveway at my mom's house. They were down here on vacation. He was listening to one of their albums, and he was like, "Oh, I like these guys too. This is this is their gangster rap personas because they do different. They like to do concept albums."
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that I really dig that in general. If a musician can do a concept album, you've probably got me wrapped. I missed I kind of miss the old days of a full album. We don't really get that anymore.
True.
But he said that he gave that to me, and what it was is it was just them acting like they were being like NWA back in the day, and they were rapping over other rappers' beats. So that got me into it, and then I just kind of branched out. Um, and then I, I kind of branched out to the other music, and then I got real into the culture. And then I was about 16. Well, no, actually, let me take that back. At about 14, my mom went ahead and took me to my first concert of theirs. And that's when I decided that I wanted to make sure that I knew everything I needed to know about these guys because they were really cool. They put on a really good stage performance, and all that. And I really liked the message behind their music. So to me, like what a juggalo is just somebody um, that uses Insane Clown Posse's music or their themes kind of per se as like a lifestyle. And I always heard in their music, I always heard the good values. There's a lot of good values in their music. Of course, they talk about like crazy stuff and they're clowns and it's all goofy. It's all for fun. Um, but they've got something like 30 albums out. I mean, there's messages throughout all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, in 2023, they're kind of like a pop icon joke or a meme. And honestly, I'm okay with that. The guys are getting paid, 30 years in, they can still sell out concerts, and they do an annual music festival every year.
Yeah.
There's not many bands that do that. And we're able to continue to do that even post 2020. Um, but but to me, it's just living a good lifestyle of supporting others around you and trying to build others up.
Yeah.
That's kind of the message I always got from their music, was that there's something better than what we see. There's something better than what's beyond us,
Mm-hmm.
and we can achieve that if we just I don't know, basically just hold each other's hands through this life, kind of deal.
I like that.
So
I like that. Yeah, a lot of people they see the makeup, they hear the music, and sometimes they don't even hear the music. They just see like you mentioned the memes or videos, and they just make assumptions. And everyone I know that claims to be a juggalo have always been cool people with me. The one thing I will say is that a lot of times they're just misunderstood, and they're like, "Well, if I'm misunderstood, we're gonna rock that."
I mean, that was the whole part of the message at 13, where I
Yeah,
was like, oh, these guys are everything in terms of music and like icons. And like, to me at that point, like, at 13, you're very influential anyways. And a lot of 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds feel alone and outcasted.
yeah.
And around that time, I had just moved to where I live now. And we had moved from a big city to a small town in like the woods. Like, even still, I'm 2 hours away from a mall and always have been.
Wow.
Um, so everybody used to make fun of me because they're like, "Oh, you're a city boy. You're a city boy, and you moved to the country." So I always felt like an outcast, and I was kind of able to use that to feel like I was I was part of something.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
That's cool. Let's check back in with the chat. We got Steve in the house. Must say the audio is awesome tonight. Yeah, we got there, man. We got there. It took a while, but we got there. Thanks for checking in. I'll let you answer this one because mine will be revealed later on.
mine will
Favorite
be
Christmas.
revealed later on as well.
Oh, there you go. Ha ha ha. Stay tuned, Eric. Are you strictly PlayStation or any Xbox exclusives that you like? I think
Um,
you got both in your house, right?
I kind of try to get everything. Like, I was a very big video game collector before I really messed with movies per se. Like, I've always had a small DVD collection. And then when 3D came out, I jumped into the 3D bandwagon and collected those like crazy. So I've always
Me
been
too.
into like the newer formats
Mhm.
per se. And but I would get like one new movie a month, while I was buying a new game every week, every payday.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was buying it, and I was saving up to buy a new console. And um, if I have to choose, I always choose PlayStation because I've always been a big Sony guy. We had a PS1 in the 90s when I was growing up. Um,
Mhm.
but I will never not buy Nintendo. Nintendo's always got me because I'm a family man, so there's always stuff on there to play with my kids, and
It's
I know
true.
that for sure.
It's
But
true.
I have an Xbox for any exclusives on Xbox because I don't like to be pigeonholed behind not being able to play something that's the talk. That's
Yeah.
kind of how I've always been with that.
Now, your kids more Xbox than PlayStation, or same thing?
Well, my son has Xbox because when he was growing up, when it was time to get him into his own console, Xbox 360s were really cheap to kind of get him in,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when digital buying started. So all of his digital
Mm-hmm.
games kind of just roll over. So we've just kind of stuck him with Xbox because the digital purchase is rolling over.
Yeah.
But my daughter's 9, so her first big system has been the Switch, and
Uh,
she just loves that thing because she can. It's like I was with my Game Boy in the '90s. It's just it can be yours. It's
yeah.
you in that world, and
Yeah.
she absolutely loves that. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Christmas movie that made you laugh or cry? Me, it's always Elf. I love Elf.
Elf makes me laugh so hard I cry sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Everybody needs to Honda slap that like button. Yes, Street Fighter, like that.
Nice.
Question for you: thoughts on which is better, Aragon, the video game, or the film? Ooh,
Um,
what about the book?
Never watched the film. Heard the game was
Oh,
garbage, but that was around the time where I was putting my nose up to book adaptations, and I
hmm
had read the book in middle school, so I was a
yeah,
big fan of the book. I was like that with Harry Potter as well. I just put my nose up to it because I'm like, it won't touch the books. The books are better, and and so even to this day, I still have major gaps in my Harry Potter stuff, even though it's like such a big phenomenon, it's so pop
yeah,
culture. Aragon, that's just one of those ones that I miss too because I held the book so close to me.
yeah. My kids grew up with that movie, so I've seen it several times. You should check it out sometime. Like even just grab the DVD or the Blu-ray sometime and just watch it. Let's see. Eric says, "Are you watching The Color Money for your Scorsese Christmas movie watch?" Yes. My movie challenge for the month of December is The Holidays with Uncle Marty. So I'm watching 25 holiday theme movies. That could be Christmas movies, could be movies that take place in December. Some of those movies that you think are not Christmas movies, but really are. Yes, I'm talking about Die Hard. And also watching 25 Scorsese movies. There's only 27, so I'm watching most of his catalog. 26 if you exclude Killers of the Flower Moon. And the reason I'm doing Scorsese is because I spent most of the year upgrading and collecting his almost entire filmography. So yes, I definitely will be watching Color of Money because yeah, that's a good one. Let's see. Favorite gingerbread man is Mongo from Shrek 2. I might try to do that for my gingerbread man. Um, did we lose Jeff here?
Oh no, I'm still here. My bad.
Okay, cool. Miss Caveman is stuck in traffic listening along. So please say hello. Hello, Miss Caveman. Shout out to you. Hope all is well. I'm going to have you read this next one.
Watch your step to hell. It's a long fall. Great Valenko, wave your wand. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man. And we got some love for your 6 Feet Under box set behind
I
you.
I am rewatching through that show right now.
That's
It's
cool.
they just added it to Netflix and they kept throwing it at my face.
Uh
So
huh.
me and my wife decided to sit down and watch it. Um, it's so good. It's probably one of the quickest watch throughs of a show I've done because we started it about a week ago and we're about to hit season 4. It's just so good. That might be one of my favorite shows of all time, honestly. And when I watched it, I guess I was about 11, 12, 13. I was watching it with my mom and my grandma when it was a new show on
Yeah,
HBO.
me too.
So this is the first time I've went back and watched it in at least 12 or 15 years. It hits way different when you're the same age as the characters.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely, there's a difference between watching it like when you're younger and then when you're older, you start to identify with different characters more too.
Yeah.
So, Fago and ICP forever. Best concert experience ever. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was like my second concert I ever went to. And to be honest, so pre 2020, me and my wife were hitting 3 shows a year and sometimes a festival.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm kind of spoiled because their tickets are cheap. Like they even still, even now, they do like $45 tickets, and you just don't get an experience like that. They usually have 3 or 4 openers.
Hmm.
Like, it's not a whole bunch of big names, but it's always a fun time. It's always crazy, and
That's
just
all you want.
and most shows don't do that. Most time you're spending that much and you're way up in the nosebleeds.
Right.
Here you can get up on stage with them if you get close, if you can get close enough and enough elbowing.
Yeah. We
So
got Mika in the house saying hello and hi to everyone. We got Mike. What's up, Magic Hands?
magic hands.
Let's see. My uncle worked for Nintendo in Japan, sent me the first Game Boy before it was released with a bunch of games, but it wasn't compatible with the North American games. Same experience. My friend went to Japan and brought me back Super Mario Brothers 3 and brought me the adapter, and it was a gold edition. So I had the gold edition Super Mario Brothers 3 before it was released in the States. And it was cool because it was just like this big cartridge sitting on top of my Nintendo, because my Super Nintendo, because it had the adapter in it to make it compatible with the different regions from Japan to North America. But
I'm so glad they're past that now.
yeah.
All games are region free now.
Yeah, but it was an experience because people would come to my dorm room and just like chill and drink and smoke and play for hours, and we didn't care. We had like a kind of like a community living room, so that's where we had the TV set up and everything. It was either that or Tecmo Bowl tournaments going, so it was great. 6 Feet Under, great show. Yeah, one of my favorites as well. Yeah, and 6 Feet Under led to Dexter. Very
Yeah.
true. Very true. Um,
I actually told somebody on I was sharing on Facebook that I was doing it and watching it, and they said, "Oh, I liked him in Dexter," and I told them that I thought that he was better in 6 Feet Under than Dexter, and they
mm,
said that was a bold claim. I said, "Yeah, but for someone to play that type of character in 6 Feet Under, that shows how good of an actor he is. Anybody can act a little crazy and pretend to be a serial killer, but it's really hard to spend 5 years of basically the start of your acting career pretending to be something that you're not. Like
yeah,
he was a homosexual in the show, and he's
yeah,
definitely not in real life. Like
yeah,
so that to me shows a lot. And he did that 20 years ago before it was okay. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
when people had problems with it. I
yeah.
remember I was watching one of the episodes, and it was based around how people were getting beat down in the streets over that.
Was that
Just
the
like
one
in
where he was at the club?
um, I think so. The opening was every opening of the show had a death, and the
Yeah,
opening of the show was 2 guys standing at the ATM, and they got beat down and beat to death at the ATM. And I'm
yeah,
thinking it was only about 20 years ago that people were that cruel about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And for that guy to even be on a show and pretend to be doing that, that could have been possibly harmful for him 20 years ago.
yeah. Could have been
Um,
typecasted, and
so
then people would have had a problem with that because it's not a real gay man playing that role.
yeah,
It's
so
all,
that's why I have to say that I feel like he did better in that show because he's believable the whole way through,
yeah,
and and he built up such a character arc. You have a lot of heart for that character and the things he goes through as loss of love.
yeah. And the thing, like you said, is that was early in his career, and he gave such a great performance.
I don't remember seeing him in anything before that,
Me neither.
but several good things after.
Yep. Caveman. Hopefully, Long Kiss Goodnight is on your Christmas watch list. I was kind of looking to see because we have like the family holiday movies together. So, like, if I look over there now, all the Rankin Bass classics, the White Christmases, The Miracle on 34th Street, Scrooge, all that, except I have my 4K behind me. And I thought I had Long Kiss Goodnight because, I have them separated. Like, I went to pull Die Hard and I went to pull that, and I don't have it. I'm surprised I didn't have it on DVD or Blu-ray. So,
Well, Caveman usually knows where we can stream these things.
yeah, man. Tell us where I should stream Long Kiss Goodnight. You're good for that, for sure. For sure. Um, yeah. 6 Feet Under also gave us Dwight Schrute.
And I had totally forgot about that until I seen him in this season. I'm looking at my wife and I'm like, hey, look.
Yeah,
Which
I hadn't
actually,
seen him in anything before
I
that
think he
either.
was casted in that after House of a Thousand Corpses. I think House of a Thousand Corpses was actually before, but because of
Mhm,
how long it took for Rob Zombie to get the movie out, it ended up being popular afterwards. So
mhm.
most people affiliate that he started 6 Feet Under, but I think his first actual like thing that he was hired for was House.
Yeah. Um, so we had Steve on last week, Excelsior Movie Reviews, and on his YouTube channel, there's been a shift, kind of like from his music shorts to more talking about movies and reviews. Yours seems to go back and forth between your love for video games and your love for movies. When did you start to incorporate the movies, and do you plan to like keep it like that, where there's a little bit of both?
I do. So I decided to start really doing movies after I'd been hanging out in this community in the chats for about 4 or 5 months. I really
Hmm.
dug what everybody was doing, what everybody was talking about. I felt like I had a few things I could say too, and kind of add to conversation.
Yeah.
Um, and I found the community probably that would have been it'd been August of last year. I went to a music festival, and it took all the way up till then. I came back and I had COVID.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm an insulin dependent diabetic. And
Okay.
those two things did not mix very well together. So I
No.
ended up almost in like a diabetic state of coma in a way almost. So I wound up in the hospital. Well, I was sitting there and I'm scrolling through my YouTube and I'm like, I'm sitting here and I really don't want to. I really don't care about video games today. I want to do something else. I want to find movies. I was already following films at home and Cool Duder, those two guys from like 2020, from when I was sitting around the house looking for stuff back then.
Yeah.
Um, and I stumbled across Ken at Mid Level Media.
Shout out Kenny
Um,
Levels.
I was actually in the hospital. He was doing his August or his July roundtable, I believe, and everybody was live on there. And that night, I ended up following him and Bob and Tony and Garrett from Born to Be Rad. I think those were pretty much the first four channels, 5 channels or so that I started following. And I really just dug what everybody was. Oh, hang on.
What's
Hello.
up? You're good.
It says my phone's about to overheat.
Oh no.
Um, that's weird. Let me see.
All right. Hopefully his phone didn't completely overheat. Um, technology, nothing like it. That in live TV. So um, I'm going to star a couple of these questions that are coming in. When Jeff comes back, we will ask him. But let me know what you guys are watching while we're waiting for him to return. Since it is the holiday season, I know some people are doing movie challenges. Some people are, just going through like their movie watching for December. So, what are some stuff that you're watching right now? Just throw it up in the chat and we could discuss it until Jeff comes back. Let's see. There we go. Count on Caveman. It's on Pluto. Long kiss
Nice,
goodnight.
nice. Sorry about that. My Chrome closed. Said I was overheating. I had it hooked up to the TV and stuff, but we'll do it like this. That'll be fine.
Yeah. So you said it, and Caveman came through saying Long kiss goodnight is on Pluto.
And say he's usually good about that.
Yeah, I guess I will have to watch it with those commercials. The way I hate it. But beggars can't be choosers.
I guess if we don't want to do that, we can buy it if we can find it. I don't.
Yeah,
That might be one of those ones that can't be found easy.
I wonder. I'm gonna do a quick search here because I saw somebody made a like a custom poster with Sam Jackson saying "Long kiss goodnight, mother," and I was like, that would make a nice custom cover. Like if you got a Blu-ray or something without the cover. Let's see. It looks like it's readily available on sale currently at Walmart for $11.99.
Okay.
So
Well, it looks like Walmart's going to be our go-to place anyways. So I guess
yeah,
we'll get used to
yeah.
that.
Any thoughts about that?
I mean, I don't really mind if they were gonna throw it in store like that, because that's all I've ever had anyways locally was
Yeah,
Walmart. I don't have a Target, I don't have a Best Buy. Those are all 2 hours away. I only
yeah,
have Walmart. So if that's going to reflect in store, then I'm okay with that. But
yeah,
I don't think it's going to, because I just heard earlier today that they were going to start restocking their movies every 2 weeks. Starting in February, they were only going to stock new releases on the second and fourth weeks of the month.
yeah. That's crazy.
So
It's
they
bad enough. Like
they get all the physical media in January, and then in February they make it to where we can only buy twice a month.
it's crazy.
Doesn't make much sense to me.
It's already getting bad because I've had several occasions this year where with both Walmart and Best Buy where I pre-order something, let's say a steelbook, and it's bent out of shape completely. As recently as last week, I ordered Point Break from Best Buy
Right.
because I really like that steelbook, and they sent it in a simple bubble mailer, so you know that thing was not coming in pristine conditions. Even I forget what it is. Some small boutique label will bubble wrap the individual movies, either individually or together, and just put it in a simple box. And that's more protection than those bubble mailers. So,
I feel like if you do more than 4 movies for Vinegar Syndrome, that's how they do it.
yeah. So
But
I don't
I've
know.
never had a bad shipment from Vinegar Syndrome before.
Me neither. Me neither. Let's see. How did Clint Eastwood not sue Red Dead Revolver, Red Dead Redemption, and Red Dead Redemption 2? Those games feel like complete Clint Eastwood ripoffs.
There's laws for being able to use likeness rights and parody. You're allowed to use likenesses and parody without paying people for that.
Yeah, I remember let me bring you back up here. I remember the Red Dead Redemption games when they first came out, and outsider looking in, not being a full-time gamer or anything like that, I was like, "Huh, I wonder how that would play." But it really caught on, and people, besides being a Western theme video game, people really got into that.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was the second one was super popular. It ended up making enough money for them not to have to make another game for a long time.
Yeah, and then the sequel dropped, and it was just more of the same. Love that film. One of our yearly watches every Christmas. Long Kiss Goodnight. Yeah. I want to say Muppet Valley Christmas is ready to play. After my watch of a thon of Home Alone on 4K. Nice. Very nice. I have one more question for you. Um, Everyone, as the new year starts to come around, people are thinking about what changes they're going to make, what improvements they're going to make, whether it's, something they're going to do on Instagram or maybe post more stuff to their letterbox. Some people have letterbox and they have it in name, but they never use it, or they want to, make an improvement to like their YouTube or anything. Do you have anything in mind for 2024 with any of your social media outlets?
Um, I'd like to be a little more consistent on doing some YouTube stuff. Uh, Even if it's just a video a week or even a video every 2 weeks. I mean, I follow plenty of channels that only do one every 2 weeks or even one a month kind of
Hmm.
deal. I just want to get some kind of consistency there, because I
Yeah.
post on Instagram a lot. I don't really need more consistency there. I could probably slow down on that. So, uh, but that's kind of my goal for that for next year. Is just to work on my YouTube a little more, because I've noticed, like, I was live streaming the other night and people do come in and chit chat with me. So I
Yeah.
feel I feel like there's at least a few people that would come in there and kick it with me and chit chat while I'm playing. So I had Cody, dude who loves movies. He came in the other night and was hanging out for about an hour.
Mm,
So while I was playing, he was like, I didn't know what this game was. I said, well, this is what it is. You can get on and play it with me.
that's cool. Do you have do you like promote like a Twitch channel as well?
It's John Doe Juggalo. If you
Wherever
type
you
in John
go.
Doe Juggalo on anything, you're gonna find me. I've used that username, so that's the only reason I didn't change my YouTube channel, was mainly because everything I've created since like 2004 is John Doe Juggalo.
Mm-hmm.
All the way back to my eBay account, pretty
Oh
much.
wow.
But when I first started making like video game tags for like Xbox and everything back in the day in like 2003, 2004, 2005, I was just doing John Doe Juggalo on everything, and I just have kept it the same. So if you type that in on any social media, you can find me. Except for TikTok, I've never messed with TikTok. I got, but I got an old X or Twitter or whatever everybody's calling it now, Instagram, all that stuff, and it's same name on everything. So
I do have one more question, and this was actually going to be one of my first questions. Um, I love, even though I don't even watch the show, I love watching the videos with you and Tristan talking about Chucky. I'm also a dad. My son is my oldest, and then I have two daughters. And any opportunity, like we were talking before with Metallica, for us to have something where we bond over is like monumental.
yeah.
Especially something about that father-son thing. As they get older, if if you like one thing, they usually want to like the complete opposite. If you like one team, they want to like the team's rival or whatever the case may be. So, who made the call to start doing the videos, and what is it like recording with him?
Um, so I asked him if he'd be interested in doing it because I wanted to get some content on my channel, and we don't really do a lot of like content that would be necessarily today. But I knew that people were watching Chucky like today kind of deal. So I told him, I said, we can make content that's fresh. And that's his favorite thing. His favorite thing right now is Chucky. And I knew it was something that we could talk about. We had a lot of good things to talk about because I grew up on Chucky. I mean, they used to play Chucky all the time on USA
Right.
in the 90s. Like I remember watching 2 and 3 back to back so many times growing up.
Hmm.
Um, so it and that was his first. That's like his first favorite like horror movie franchise. My uncle, the same one that introduced me to Insane Clown Posse, introduced him into Chucky when he was 9 or 10. And he's just been kind of into it since. But it was kind of my idea, mainly because the only reason I even do anything on my YouTube channel and I even put anything on there is for my kids to have something to go back and see for me. In 2023, we don't have home videos anymore. We have YouTube channels. We have
It's
social
true.
medias.
It's true. It's very
And,
true.
and if I get to leave nothing behind for them, they'll have a YouTube channel where they'll always see nice conversations between me and him, or just be able to watch me play a game and hear my voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really just make my content to leave something behind for my kids to be able to always have a piece of me there.
Yeah. I like that. I'm gonna steal that one. I'm gonna definitely steal that and use that for sure. For sure. We got Kenny Levels. See, we mentioned him and he showed up. Kenny Levels popping up in the chat. What's up, Ken? Tiger Blue adds, just reference, if I search YouTube for John Doe Juggalo, I find a channel with 1 subscriber and no videos. To find you, I need to search for at John Doe Juggalo. Yeah, that
That's
at is now becoming very important. When they were giving
that's
us
good
those
to know.
names, that's why we put it up like this.
Yeah, that's good to know. I didn't know that. I just tell everybody, hey, search for me, you'll find me.
Yeah,
But I mean, I have a little more than 1 subscriber. I think I'm somewhere around 60 or 65, and hey, that's
I
way
had it.
more than I ever thought I'd have. And for what I have my YouTube channel for, I'm more than grateful for it because all I
65.
ever needed was my 3 kids to be my subscribers. So
Yeah. Um, Talking about that, we're coming up on the anniversary of on Christmas night last year. I had a conversation with my kids, um, and it's really funny that it has a lot of views. I guess people want to see the perspective of, okay, what did this guy spawn? And it's something I know I personally return to throughout the year, and it's really funny that each one of them came to me individually and say they go back and they watch it too. So I don't know how many views it has now, but we're probably half of them. So I got to count unique views to see what's honestly not us. But yeah, it's something unique about being able to do that with your loved ones. And like you said, this is like the modern day home video movies. So yeah, I'm glad to have some kind of legacy, even though it's something of interest of mine. It's
Yeah,
like if
and
they found like a old reel to reel with me playing music back in the '60s, but now it's a modern day example.
yeah, and I mean, and and a lot of people that you meet in real life per se, you're like, oh yeah, I messed around on YouTube a little bit. Most people just kind of roll their eyes and are like, oh yeah, YouTube or whatever. But I don't really care about that because, like I said, I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it for the kids to have a
Right.
just something to hear my voice in 30 years. Even if
Yeah.
YouTube goes away, there's ways to download these things and save the videos and the conversations and the stuff. If you really want to have that, I mean, there's rippers. We can pull this stuff down and save it for our kids if we want to, if that's the type of thing. If
Yep.
we're afraid that it gets lost.
Yeah. Very
So
true. All right, my friend. You ready for the five takes?
I am ready for the five takes.
Sounds like you have some physical copies to show. We start the way we always do with number one. Name the film that made you fall in love with the movies.
So this is a lot of people's, um, but mine is A New Hope.
Nice.
Um, and it wasn't until I was about 8 years old, I think I might have been a little bit younger, but when they redid the trilogy in the '90s for the special editions, um, it was new to me, but it felt new to everybody. Like my parents, it felt new to my parents. It felt new to everybody. And my parents took us to the biggest cinemas we could go to and watch them. So um, when I went and seen A New Hope in the theater, I'd already been watching it for years at home on like TBS and stuff. And that was just when I realized that films can make an impact on the different types of screens you watch them on and who you watch them with and where you watch them, kind of deal. So that's what made me know that it didn't really matter where I was watching it at, that I loved this movie. But that it
Mm.
did, but that there was different ways to watch a movie.
Yeah, you're not alone either. I mean, a lot of people, that's what they go back to.
I mean,
I'm
I'm sure I have little figurines of Star Wars toys here that were from my Taco Bell kids meals in the '90s when they did all the new '90s kids meals, because they were all through Taco Bell at the time.
Yeah, I got old Kenner toys on my shelf as you come down to the basement here. So they're probably, well, they're definitely older than your kids. They might be older than you, but it's like from original releases and re-releases. So I see them and all of a sudden I'm 10 again, I'm 12 again. So yeah, I definitely know what you mean by that. Another person, you mentioned his name and he shows up. What up, dude? Says, what's up, everyone? Don't forget to roundhouse kick that like button for Jeff and KB. Thank you, sir. Salute to you as always.
Thanks, Cody.
Moving on, we have number two. Name five of your favorite films, not the five of your favorite film.
Okay. So I just pull five randoms, but I love them all for different reasons. Of course, I say this every time somebody asks me. Halloween always comes up. I don't care. I can watch this film at any time and have a good time. It can be playing on TV and be all cut up. You ain't missing much. So I'm always watching it if it's on the TV. And then we'll swing over to Christmas. Of course, my favorite Christmas movie and just one of my favorite movies of all time is Home Alone. Um,
Mm.
I don't know any kid in the '90s that didn't want to be this kid. Um, and then again, as a '90s kid, getting to go to the drive-in and see this played on the drive-in, they finally made my favorite TV show into a movie when they did The Simpsons. And as somebody that grew up watching it every Sunday, I felt like they did a really good job with this. It was pretty good.
No, I'm disappointed to see someone with the Simpsons movie on Blu-ray and you didn't do the dollar store switch where you go and get the
I tried, but by the time people were talking about it, I could not find the yellow case to save my life.
if anybody has the yellow case out there and you got an extra on, let Jeff
or
know
or a pink.
because everybody who has that movie on Blu-ray should have a yellow case.
I would take a pink too to match the donut. Either one,
Yeah,
either one.
yeah. The Mean Girls Blu-ray has the pink. Are you one of the people who always watch Halloween 2 immediately after Halloween 1?
During Halloween season, yes.
I'm
But
not.
sometimes, like if it's just like randomly like in the middle of the summer and I just put Halloween on, I don't have to watch two. But during the season, I'm usually back to back 1, 2.
Yeah, I'll either do 1, 2, or 1 and then remake. And then this year, I totally flipped the script. I did Trick or Treat because my wife and my daughter hadn't seen it yet. And they're like, why are you obsessed with this Sam character? I was like, let me show you. And then everybody went to bed, and I was like, it's still October 31st. I got to watch 78 Halloween. So I just do it on afterwards. So, but yeah, 1, 2 sometimes, but I always pair it with something else. What else you got?
This is one that I never see anybody talk about, but I absolutely loved this movie, From Paris with Love, with
Wow.
John Travolta. And you never see Jonathan Myers anywhere, but I always remember him from The Tudors on Showtime because I'm a big TV show watcher too. But this movie was just great. I thought it was funny. I thought it hit all the bells and whistles. And I just remember having friends come over, and I would show it to them. We always had a good time with it. And then I'm gonna go with something really new, because of the impact it's had on me and my family and my kids, and that's Mario Brothers.
We were just talking about that.
And this is also my favorite video game movie. And I know it's really new, and there's a lot of tropes to it. But as somebody that grew up always playing Mario, I got all the Easter eggs. I understood them all. My kids, for the most part, got most of them. We went to the theater. We took my kids to see that movie twice in the theater, and we barely go to the theater.
That's cool.
Kind of deal. I've bought it on pretty much every physical format you can. This star back here is another 4K box set of the movie.
The Walmart special.
I got the Dollar General 3-week early DVD special because our Dollar Generals here for some reason stocked it 3 weeks early. So I bought it on DVD so my kids could watch it early. But they all love it. Even my 4-year-old, he knows how to turn the TV on, go to Peacock and watch Mario.
Wow. Wow.
So the impact that movie has had on my family, that's why it's one of my favorite. And I do have one honorable mention because I just had to fit it in here because of what it was for me, and my grandma.
I just watched that the other night as part of my holidays
Scorsese
with Uncle
film.
Marty.
Yeah.
I get something out of that movie every time I watch it. Something
Me too. I remember the first time I watched it, I was probably like 14 or so, and I watched it with my grandma, who is no longer with me. So this is why this one touches me as much as it did. And I just remember her reaction at the end of the movie. And at 14, I didn't understand it. And I watched this movie back in like March, and then I immediately had to go buy it. It was streaming somewhere, and I immediately had to go find it. And I chose this version because it came with every format. Has a DVD in it, everything. I can go anywhere and watch this movie because this is one of my favorites. Because when you get to the end of it, when you really think about it, maybe he wasn't crazy and people were just against him. But maybe he was crazy.
Every time I watch that movie, I get something different. It's like
you don't really know, and it makes you think every time because it could be either or it could be both.
It could be backlash from his role in the war.
Yeah, it could be he could be having PTSD. Yeah. Like there's several different ways to go, and that's just one of those movies that every time I put it in, it makes me think, and I appreciate it for that. And I understand now more as someone that's over the age of 30 why my grandma loved this movie so much.
Yeah.
Because when I was 14, I couldn't really comprehend what it meant, or what certain things in this movie meant, you know? So there is that'll bring me back to, that'll also bring me to the next question.
All right. I'm going to hold that thought for a minute and catch up on these comments. First of all, we pissed Johnny off. He's like, that does it? No Ghostbusters? He's always looking for someone to mention Ghostbusters.
I love Ghostbusters. It just wasn't one that I pulled from the shelf.
There you go. Going back up, Jerry asks, what is your favorite Mario game? Which is a great question.
My favorite Mario game is probably Mario Brothers 3. I just always remember having that NES cartridge, and just about any house I went to in the 90s, if they had a Nintendo, they had that game. So
Everybody
you could
had it.
always put it. You could always put it in and play it, and
Yep.
and then the way the aesthetics of it felt like I was playing a play on stage, because of the way you go to the curtain at the end. I always thought that was kind of neat. So.
Yep. Um, yeah, very true. I got a nice 82-inch OLED in front of me right now, so I could tell you for sure the Rainbow Road scenes with the Mario Kart race, spectacular. There's like this year, I don't say this every year, but this year there's been some great 4Ks. Besides Barbie, besides Oppenheimer, there have been some really, really pristine ones. And last year, I could really think of a few new ones. So, like Top Gun Maverick was probably the best as far as reference this, but older movies definitely. But this year, too many. Across the Spider-Verse, another one.
It
Great
was it was it
animation,
was
great
almost it was
4K.
it was almost like every movie you bought that somebody said was good was also a good transfer.
Yeah.
Almost.
The game is getting better. That's what it is. The way they're mastering this and the way they're using 100 gig disc instead of 50, so the compression is less, and you're seeing the difference on screen. Criterion's starting to do it now, so you're starting to see the difference. Have you seen or even remember the old TV show series Dream On? I do. I do because, like him, my babysitter growing up was the TV. I didn't have any siblings, so basically, the way the intro of the show goes, it was like the kid's mother just sat him in front of a TV and put it on. So then his thoughts, anytime somebody made a reference, he had a TV show reference in his head to turn to, and they would show the TV clip. And my mind used to work like that. So yes, I do remember Dream On HBO way back. I don't even know what year it is. Look it up. Look it up. Jeff, any possibility of remembering that show?
No, I've never heard
Yeah.
of it.
It got the availability of it went away for a while on HBO, and then when HBO Go came out, HBO Now, depending on how you got your service online, it became available again. Also, Necessary Roughness, that was another one that they had, which they made into a show called First and 10. That was another HBO show. Monkey, Rob Zombie 1 and 2, and House of Thousand Corpses makes a happy monkey out of me on the night of Halloween. I'm not a zombie fan, but I get it.
People that dig him really dig him.
Yeah. Would you have lost your shit if in the Halloween Ends the mask came off and it turned out to be Stu from That would have been funny.
That
That
would
would
have
have
been
been
funny.
funny.
Yeah,
Ooh, flashback. The Wii version of
that's a
Paper Mario.
that's a fun game.
Yeah. I used to love that and Dr. Mario too.
Oh,
Those were
Dr.
two things.
Mario, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. My favorite fish is in house. Good evening to
Hey,
you,
Fish.
sir. We are in the 5 takes, but also reading some comments here and there. So thank you for joining us. Let's get back into the questions. We are up to number 3. Name a popular or classic movie that everybody loves. You don't particularly like it though.
So going back to rewatching things later on when you're a little older, I might need to do this. And I don't own the movie because I don't buy movies I don't like unless they're not opened yet and I haven't watched them because I do blind buys per se. But Slumdog Millionaire, everybody loved that movie when it came out. And I tried to watch that thing 3 different times and fell asleep. And I don't fall asleep during movies.
Hmm.
And I can't find the interest in that movie, and I don't understand why it got as much praise as it did and people loved it. But everybody I know that loves film loves that movie. And I can't get past I fall asleep in 30 minutes.
I think it was a timely film. Like it took advantage of like the popularity of game shows like So You Want to Be a Millionaire, and also Danny Boyle was a hot and heavy director at the time.
Which I love Danny Boyle from 28 Days Later and 20, I love that movie.
Yeah,
So that was my whole appeal to trying to roll into that movie. That's one of the few that I
but it's
rented that I tried to watch it. I've tried to rent it a couple times and
yeah,
I gave up on it.
it's different than the rest of his filmography. I find, he has movies that are definitely him. Train Spotting, definitely him. 28
Yeah.
Days, definitely him. Even further down, like 127 Hours, that's still him. That whole isolation feeling and how that could be an enemy in the wild. You also see that in Sunshine. But then Slumdog Millionaire is such like it's such a departure from his style
It
of doing movies.
looking back on it, like I said, it's been a long time since I've tried to watch it. But looking back on it, it seemed like he was trying real hard to feel indie when we already knew he wasn't anymore.
Mm-hmm. You go in
So
Hollywood, be Hollywood, man. Uh, Fish remembers Dream On. Awesome. We got Mama Blu-ray in the house. What's up, Bonnie? Thank you for joining us. Exact same KB, Only Child, How My Brain Works. Sadly, Dream On is only available on DVD, season 1 and 2, not streaming anywhere anymore. Not even on HBO. You can't find it on Max or not Max, on the HBO streaming app. I got to look that up later. What's this? I had to have Mexican for 2 months after watching that. I don't know what he's talking about. Let's flip the script. Number 4. Name a critically hated movie that you love.
so I'll probably get some stuff for this in the chats for the next year or so.
That's okay.
Battlefield Earth.
I saw that on your letterbox, and I was like,
Um,
really? Like
it's
it was a recent
it's not
watch?
a good it's not a good movie, and I know it. But I remember when it came out, I went and I watched it with my dad, and he just enjoyed it. And I remember the feeling that I had watching it with him. Um, Sometimes I like bad movies just because I remember who I watched them with and how I felt when I watched it. And I had a good time when I first watched it, probably just because I was watching it with my dad, honestly. Because I watched it again, and it's not as bad as what everybody makes it out to be, but I would say it's definitely John Travolta's worst movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've watched worse. But I've
Yeah.
watched worse.
Yeah. I'm not a fan, but I could see the appeal, especially if there's an experience tied to it. That could make a bad movie good
Yeah.
if there was an experience.
I know it's not a good movie. I'm watching it, and there's just like, because I watched it this weekend to kind of go over it to make sure that's what my answer was, and I'm like, I'm still enjoying this. I'm still having a good time. I see why a handful of people might really dig this, but in terms of like when you compare it to what a good movie is, it had some of the weirdest cuts. Like
Hmm.
there was just times where like a scene would just cut, like because they had this like fadeaway thing, almost like what TV shows do, and it would like fade away and it would cut to a whole different scene in the middle of what seemed like to be a conversation. I don't think the movie was edited very well. And it's one of those things where I've been told that the book is better as
Hmm.
well. So maybe I need to go and read the book because I can understand where the story and the premise is good, but it was just not executed well.
Wasn't there a whole Scientology thing around that too?
I think so. Like I said, I haven't looked much into it. I don't
Yeah.
go too far beyond if I like a movie or don't like a movie too often. Unless
Yeah.
I really like a movie, then I might dip into like who directed it and go kind of find their other work and look at some producers and writers and that kind of stuff. But in terms of like, oh, somebody will say, oh, this is pushing this agenda. Well, if I didn't get that, I'm not going to go look for that kind
Yeah.
of deal. So I didn't get that from it. I got it as a kind of a bad alien invasion movie set 1,000 years in the future, where most of it is very improbable. But to be honest, if you just kind of enjoy how far John Travolta and Forrest Whitaker go into those roles, you can have a good time with it. Them two guys are pretty fun.
It's true. They probably like, hey, we got a bag for this one. Let's just have fun. Brother Dell in the house. What's up? Late, but I'm here. Yes. Thank you for checking in. Of course, feel free to catch a replay. I knew she was going to do this, Bonnie. Susan made me sit through Titanic last night, my least favorite movie. She said she was going to do it.
At least it was
And
in beautiful
I guess
4K.
you still don't like it. I heard it's a beautiful transfer. I haven't picked it up yet myself. So, Bonnie, I'm taking it that you still don't like Titanic. I love the movie. Yeah, there it is. It was written by L. Ron Hubbard, Battlefield Earth. So there's your Scientology tie-in. Um, yep. Everyone's chiming in with that to push his agenda.
Yeah, see,
There
I
you go.
I didn't even know that. I didn't get that from the movie.
You didn't
I
pick up on it.
No, I honestly, I just kept noticing bad cuts and things that were wrong with the movie as I was watching it because okay, so I did something new this year that I've never done before, and I challenged myself at the beginning of the year to even if I don't watch a movie every day, by the end of the year, I want to watch 365 movies.
Mm,
That I different movies. So yeah, I might have watched Mario Brothers like 6 times this year, but that only counts for one.
one. Yeah.
So I'm trying to watch 365 different movies this year, and I'm somewhere around 350-ish or so far. This was close to the bottom. It was still better than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I give it that. It was
I
still better than
refuse
that
to
one.
watch that movie.
It was
I
still
got too
better than
many
Silver
unopened
Ghost.
good movies to watch a bad movie on purpose.
Yeah. This was actually the only bad movie that I watched on purpose this year. There were
Yeah.
other movies that I watched that I didn't know were bad that might have been recommendations or people talk about that I thought were bad.
Yeah. That is a good reference. Well, two announcements. One, um, just found out we're gonna have to postpone the high five over on 4K Lowdown tonight. We're moving it to Monday night. Some things unseen. So on Monday night, we'll have on 4K Lowdown's channel the holiday high five, guest star me. Also, at the end of the month, you mentioned movie goals, and immediately made me think of Mega Mike the Movie Man had us on at the beginning of the year. It was a couple of us. I know Mika's in the chat. Shout out to you. You're definitely there. Huck, Fish, I know you're in the chat too. And we kind of put out our movie goals for the year. And I know I didn't hit all of them, but I had something similar to what you're talking about, Jeff, about trying to watch more movies, at least one per day. I just didn't get there. I didn't get there. I also had COVID. I had long COVID, I should say, for 6 weeks. So that kind of put me out of commission. You're thinking, well, you could have watched it while you were laying there. No, I couldn't.
Nah, not when you feel like that.
I'm not happy movie watcher when I'm sick. I'm like, F the world. I'm falling asleep in the middle of the day. I am not.
It's like you expect me to enjoy this right now.
Yeah, I can't even put on comfort. I know, like some people, Eric, if he's still in the chat, when he's sick, he just puts on comfort movies. Like he'll put on like 80s stuff, like Lost Boys and Mac and Me and all that stuff. I wish I could do that because that'd be a great time to rewatch some of my favorites. I'd immediately throw in Breakfast Club and just start from there. But I am a hermit. I like to hibernate like a bear when I'm sick. Check on me, bring me food, bring me fresh water. Otherwise, just leave me alone. I don't want anybody around me. I don't want anybody. Are you okay? Are you feeling? How you feeling? No. Food, water, let alone. That's it. Just leave me alone. So movies was definitely the last thing on my mind when I was sick. So I'll probably have a similar goal to you next year. Just average one a day, because there are days I watch 3 or 4, and it'll catch up for the days when I watch none.
Yeah,
So,
I'll have stints where I'll go 3 and 4 days. I just don't want to watch a movie. Like I said, I'm a big TV show guy, so I'll sit down and
mhm.
binge watch a TV show sometimes and watch a whole season in a day or two rather than watch a movie or two.
Yeah.
Um, but I really made up for Halloween because Halloween I did 2 movies a day every day.
Wow.
So I did 62 horror movies this year.
Wow. Um, let's see. We got some more comments here in the chat. So Bonnie chimes in and says it is a fantastic transfer. Just don't care for the movie. Fair enough. Fair enough. I took my daughter to see it. She had never seen it on a big screen. So the 4K transfer that they have on the disc now is what they were projecting in the theaters, at least the ones with the laser projectors and everything. So I knew it would look good when it comes out on 4K. So glad they didn't really DNR it like Terminator 2. Yeah, talking about the Scientology, Travolta knew this and he made it because he's a Scientologist. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. I remember it was like a big brouhaha about it when it was coming out. Holland enjoyed Blood and Honey. You're in the minority.
Maybe I need to go back and rewatch it. I watched it when it was still kind of in the theaters. I have a friend that lives in Australia,
Yeah,
and he streamed it live on Twitch for everybody to watch.
nice.
And I didn't have a good time with it then, so I just assume it's probably not any better, even not on somebody's stream. I
Yeah,
don't think the picture quality makes this story any better.
yeah. I think the monkey is referring to the Mega Mike stream. Says it will be great. Shout out to the Collectors Club Christmas special. Nice. Um, KB, how did you miss 365 movies this year when you watched 350 in October? I did feel that way. I did feel like, and I think I said 150, but it felt like 350. It felt like 350 between August and then October because everybody had five. And I wasn't about to watch all five, but 5 times 30 is about 150. Yeah, more or less. But you're funny. Uh, Miss Caveman adds in about Titanic. I loved it when it came out in theaters. Not sure why I could sit through it today. I think special effects is what I truly liked about it. Like most James Cameron films, it's the special effects that draw you in for sure. I agree. I liked it more than Avatar for sure. Oh, don't tell on Susan. Sue is boohooing across the room. I just don't get it. It's the love story element. That's what drew in so many female watchers of all ages to see it. 6, 7. Ask Mel from My Killer Podcast how many times she's seen Titanic in the theaters. That's all I'll say. Since you're into Super Mario Brothers a lot, thoughts on the Super Mario Brothers TV show compared to the games?
Oh, well, there's a couple TV shows.
I know the
There was
cartoon.
Yeah, well, there was the Super Mario Brothers show, and then there was the Super Mario Brothers Super Show or something.
Yeah.
They're technically two different cartoons from the '90s, but they did that stuff to us a lot.
Hmm.
Um, they were fun. I have a few of the DVDs floating around here that my kids still pass around and watch.
Yeah. I remember the Super Hour or something like that. They
Yeah,
called it.
and then
Yeah.
they also had like the End Zone and stuff, where Nintendo just had like an hour of like different Nintendo's themed cartoons. I don't remember that, but I people talk about it. So
I have a better question. What do you feel about the Super Mario Brothers movie that came out before this year? The one with John Leguizamo and um, Bob Haskins.
so it's the cool thing now to like it,
Yeah,
but I
I think people who are
I liked it,
kids liked it.
but I liked it before it was cool because it's all I had.
Yeah, yeah. That's like
Um,
how we talk about old Marvel movies. We liked it because it's what we had before
yeah.
MCU. So,
Like it's not a good movie. It's a fun time though. Like it's a fun time, but it has nothing to do with the game pretty much. Not I mean,
mhm.
not when you got the guy that's supposed to be a dragon is a guy with hair, and then you got a a Yoshi that none of it really adds up, but I like it. And when that new Umbrella comes out, that new Umbrella release, I do want it. And it's
Yeah.
not because it's cool to like it now, but I do like it. Like I have the DVD sitting over here still. I never imported the Blu-ray, but I don't do imports.
Oh,
So
yeah.
my philosophy is if they didn't release it in the US, they don't want me to have it, and it keeps me a little more streamlined on what I collect. I feel like if I knew that I could buy stuff that's region B, I'd probably fall down a really big rabbit hole, and I'd have like multiple copies of the same movie that I don't need and stuff like that. So if I stick to just North American, sooner
Yeah.
or later they pretty much release everything that I really want.
Yeah.
And then I have found that a lot of the stuff from Australia is region free, so you
Yes.
can import from Australia and still play without needing a region free player. But I've
Yeah.
stayed away from a region free player for the pure and simple fact that that's too big of a rabbit hole for me to go down,
Good
and I
for
know
you.
it
Good
because
for you.
I don't just collect movies, so I need to keep that rabbit hole tight.
Yeah. We got Culture Trinity in the house. What up? What up? What up? Salute. Please catch a replay. We're about to land this plane. Um, Still talking about Titanic, and I'll just put up this one last quote here from Dell. I also agree Titanic is better than Avacrap and Avacrap the way of CGI. Thank you for everyone who joined into the chat tonight. The monkey wants to know your favorite Juggalo song.
So they did so they did a song at the end of what was their big reveal album in 2002. It's called The Unveiling. That's my favorite song of theirs because it explains what all their music means.
Nice.
It's a 7-minute track, and you can cut it off about 3 minutes in because then it's just a bunch of just music and like carnival type music playing in the background and stuff. But the first like 3 minutes of that song, they basically tell you what all of their music has meant and what it means to them. So that's my favorite song of theirs, only because it's easy for me to explain how it makes me feel and the meaning behind it to me. I can tell you, go listen to that one song and you'll understand. Yeah. And if you don't, then I don't really understand. I don't really have another way to I don't have another song to show anybody, you know. There's so many of them out there at this point.
So once again, thank you everyone who's been in the chat. Everyone on the replay, go ahead, please check it out. You know, we'll put up all the good stuff. Go ahead and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Please, I'm going to give him another chance here again, but go ahead and follow Jeff. Go ahead and subscribe to all his things. Here it is. Go follow him on all the socials except TikTok.
I just don't have one.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I always say I'm too old for it, but then I say, well, what am I missing over there? What community members am I missing? What fellow movie lovers am I missing?
That's kind of how I feel about it too.
Yeah, I'll try it again. I'll try it again. But we're about to land this plane. So as we do, we ask you, number 5, who do you like to see me have a conversation with on this channel?
So there's another blue tuber that that I became friends with outside of YouTube, and I don't think he's really part of. I'd say our community. I'm part of this community. But he's in some of the chats. His name is he goes by Let's Talk Media and Entertainment, and his name is John, and he's on Instagram by that name, YouTube, has a Facebook. But I really dug what he's doing over there on his channel. He's doing pretty good. He's got about 2.5K that follow him, and I like the content he makes. He does reviews. He talks about new movies coming out in the theater. And then every Sunday he does a video where he talks about just news and physical media. So I kind of watch his Sunday video just to kind of know about the things that were announced. So it's like a one-stop shop for me. So I've appreciated what he's done to ease my news finding out. And I think more people should know about him. And I think he could be a good addition to our little niche that we have over here. I just don't think he knows. I just don't think he knows about us.
And that's the thing. There's so many communities that don't know about each other. So we'll see what we can to bring the communities together. What's up, my man? What's up, G?
Hey, Garrett.
Wanna be rad in the house? Thank you everyone who's checking in and saying great stream. Good night. Good night, Bonnie. Have a good night. Don't make Susan put you through Titanic again. Now she has a 4K. She might try to watch it, 5 times, 50, 11 times. So, you don't have to stay. You could pretend and fall asleep like she does. So there's always that. I want to thank you, Jeff. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your love of video games and music and movies with us. Look forward to more of your content, not only on YouTube, also on Instagram. I'm going to follow you now on Letterboxd, so I'll see every time you're watching Battlefield Earth if you report on it.
Hey, I'm a lover of movies. I'll give anything a chance at least once.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I'm the same way. Thank you, Johnny. So we're going to sign off now. Once again, the 4K Lowdown stream is postponed until Monday, so check us out over there. I will be a guest over there on Monday night. And as I always say, go watch a movie. Have a good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.